Is an ice dragon coming to Game of Thrones in season 7? I think it is, and I also believe I have good evidence to support this theory. Let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. Guys, I think the concept of an ice dragon is freaking cool as hell. And honestly, for some time now, I've wondered about an ice dragon in the world of Ice and Fire. I mean, I haven't read all of the books, but certain passages that friends make me read talk about the ice dragons. There was, of course, the excerpts in the world of Ice and Fire, which talk about ice dragons. And of course, if they're running around on big spiders and they're running around, the whites is what I mean by they, if they're running around on undead horses, and if you can take a dead person and raise them up as a white, why wouldn't you be able to do so with a dragon? There's also the rumor that the dragon's in the wall. But my point is, of course, I've been thinking a lot about ice dragons in Game of Thrones for season 7, and I actually have a couple of good theories as to how this could happen and why I believe it's definitely going to happen at the end of this series. Now, the first piece of evidence that I have to give this is arguably the most definitive proof and also the most stretching, I guess, that I'm doing in this whole thing. This has to do with the leak, the big Game of Thrones season 7 leak, which details all of the episodes and their descriptions. This was put on Reddit last October, and the big concern here is that there has been nothing as far as promotional material coming from HBO that disproves this leak whatsoever. In fact, to the contrary, everything we've seen kind of makes us believe that the leak was real even more than that. And without getting too far into the leak itself, because I regret reading it now, especially that I believe it was actually real, the end of the season, we have an ice dragon reveal, sort of, okay? And that is in the official leak that was, posted on Reddit last October. It will not be hard for you to find, but I warn you, do not read that description and that leak if you want to go into Game of Thrones season 7 without knowing anything. So now we're going to leave that behind because I really don't want to talk about it anymore because I think it's probably accurate. But let's go into the next big piece of evidence for why I think the ice dragon will show up in Game of Thrones season 7. The timing of the Night King coming down and coming to the wall and trying to do another long night or whatever exactly he's doing, the timing doesn't really make a lot of sense. They already were battled back and there was some kind of a treaty formed between them, the First Men, and the Children of the Forest. We know from last season that the whites themselves were created by the Children of the Forest as a weapon against mankind. They lost control of that weapon, had to formulate an alliance with men, and therefore are now in a situation where the two of them are fighting against the whites, or the others as they're referred to in the books. Now, there was this treaty that had been going on for a long time, but at the very beginning of Game of Thrones, we see that this treaty has been broken. We see that they are attacking men and making a play at the wall. We see them right away in the story. So the question becomes, what prompted this? What was the timing exactly that made the Night King believe that he, A, had to come take over Westeros, and B, that he was able to do so? Now, there's a theory in the books that there is a ice dragon inside the wall, that somehow Bran the Builder or the First Men or the Children of the Forest were able to trap this dragon in this wall, and that it is not just to keep the whites away, but as a constant reminder of their loss in that battle. Is there something going on with a spell that has degraded that enchantment? Is it possible that the whites are marching towards the wall, not just to get past it, but to get what is inside it? So the first thing that I think is very interesting is the timing of all of this. If the dragons are nukes, which Dan and Dave have continuously talked about Daenerys' dragons as nuclear weapons in this potential war. Why would the Night King come into the fray, especially when dragons had just shown up again, unless they had a weapon themselves that would be capable of fighting against Daenerys and subjugating Westeros? So that would be my first clue as to why I think the ice dragons are coming, other than the leak itself. But I believe that there has to be a reason that the Night's King and the White Army believes they can take Westeros this time. Perhaps winter itself coming back is some kind of a sign that the ice dragon is ready to wake up, or that there's some kind of an enchantment happening. I don't know the exact answer, but the timing of this invasion would imply that a massive weapon such as an ice dragon would be soon in the hands of the Night King. So that's the very next reason that I have. Now, the reason beyond this goes to Dany herself. And Daenerys in the show has been setting herself up for a massive fall from grace, okay? She has these dragons. She has literally walked through every fire, figurative and literal, that has been presented in front of her. She does nothing but conquer challenges, make new alliances, gather armies, get people that worship her and fall in love with her. It has been nothing but ups for the Queen of Dragons, for the Mother of Dragons. So Dan and Dave have constantly talked about the fact that this is bad for the show. So whether one of Daenerys' dragons dies and is risen up as a white, or a ice dragon from some other kind of scenario comes into the fray and kills one of Daenerys' dragons, this would be a way to have her fall from grace. As a character, and especially in a world like Game of Thrones, everybody is only on top for so long before they fall. And in order for Daenerys to have her fall effectively, I believe she needs to lose a dragon. The only way she can probably do that is to have one defeated, maybe by the army of the dead, and then turn, which would really put her in a different kind of a situation, having to A, fight against the zombie version of one of the dragons she loved, but B, have someone out there, a player on this stage that has equal power to her. That would be a huge hit as well. So either way you slice it, I think she needs to lose a dragon. And the best way for her to lose a dragon, or lose the power that her dragons provide, is to have another player with an ice dragon. In the books, there is a story, a kind of side story, if you will, about Euron and the dragon egg that he has. Now, he claims to have thrown this into the ocean, but a lot of book readers believe that is crap, and it is possible that he took this dragon to the whites, which would be another explanation for a dragon. Either way, if the end result is there being an ice dragon, I think that diminishes the power that Daenerys has, and that would be good for her character, and in a line with everything that Dan and Dave have been talking about with regards to the show. Now, one more piece of evidence that I want to point to is this teaser trailer, one of the very first teaser trailers that we get. And at the very end of the trailer, there is a blue eye that appears. Now, everyone just automatically assumed that this was the eye of the Night King. But upon further inspection, this eye actually looks nothing like the Night King's eyes. In fact, the very squinty, hard edges actually look more like a dragon's eyes. Very, very interesting. Also, in that same promotional material, there is 3 dragons on the statue at the beginning of that teaser, and by the end of that teaser trailer, there is only 2. Now, that could be foreshadowing and HBO sort of winking at us to imply that one of Daenerys' dragons will fall and rise again as an ice dragon in Game of Thrones. So when you add all of this up, the leaks that suggest that it will happen, the fact that Daenerys needs to be put in check, and that is something that producers and showrunners have talked about as we head into this season, and the fact that this promotional material seemingly shows us symbols that would indicate one of Daenerys' dragons falling and rising again as a white or ice dragon are my reasons to believe that we will see ice dragons in Game of Thrones in this season, perhaps teased in this season and showcased in the following and final season. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. We are right around the corner from Game of Thrones Season 7. I'm going to be doing some theory videos as well as episode recaps with a buddy of mine every single week. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can get all of that content. Go ahead and check out thedenofnerds.com, where we will be putting up articles about Game of Thrones and all the other nerdy things that you love. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!